This is Mrs. O'Neill for your Chapter 7 review questions and problems. Again, this is a nice visual to understand the trends of the periodic table, those elements, and what happens is the arrow shows the increasing. So in other words, from left to right across a period, the ionization energy increases among those elements. So again, you might want to pause or take a screenshot. Again, this is really helpful. So you're going to go through this video by pausing as you see the question or the problem. Most of them have multiple parts. You can either answer them mentally or on paper. Again, strongly suggest having your calculator and those reference sheets out. You're going to continue playing the video to see the answers on the next slide. And some of these are going to be above and beyond what you're going to see on the test, but will definitely help you with the AP exam. So again, there's a lot here. So pause or take a screenshot, whatever you need to do, but take your time and see if you can come up with some explanations. A lot of these are more like explanations or justifications, and something you're going to have to do for the AP exam. So hopefully you paused the video, you answered the best that you can, and now we're going to go through the answers. So letter A, again, pause and read it, and make sure that you have something either similar to what's here or the same. And again, if you are having questions or not understanding, you can ask me, ask a fellow classmate, and maybe get a more in-depth detail. Letter B, again, pause and read everything. Letter C. And hopefully you know where these particular elements are, right? The alkali metals are your group 1 and the halogens are group 17. So a lot of times now we're using correct terminology and explanations for our AP readers. Letter D, I just wanted to show you here that because it's ionization energy, your electron is a product. And E, I wanted to show you here with the arrow that because we're talking about electron affinity, the electron is a reactant. So hopefully that makes sense. And the idea is that they are the same reaction, just reversed. Number 2, pause and see if you can come up with some answers. Here's your letter A. And we want to make sure that we understand these arrows, right? The bigger side is the open and the smaller side is the point. So we're going from larger to smaller. So we want to remember they use these arrows a lot, especially in the multiple choice section. So we want to remember what we're talking about. Are we talking about increasing to decreasing or vice versa? So in this case, we're going from big to little according to those arrows. Letter B. So again, depending on your resource, you might have slightly different, but those are the ones that you should have gotten similar. Number 3, again, read and take your time. Answer to A, again, we're using basically Hess's law to come up with the overall reaction. B, again, we're using Hess's law and the actual values to come up with the delta H. Okay, and again, one is ionization energy and one is electron affinity. And what's the difference? It's where those electrons are. Are you giving away an electron or are you grabbing an electron? Letter C. And notice I've highlighted condensation means we're going from gas to solid, gas to solid. So it's really important to know the states of matter your substances are in. Number 4, again, pretty lengthy here. So pause or take a screenshot and try to get through all this. Okay, on to the answers. So A, that should make sense just using your periodic table. B, you might have had to look this up because this is a little tricky and a little different. C, now C has multiple steps. So this is the first part of it. Hopefully I've written it out where you're understanding where all the numbers are coming from. This is your second step. And again, we're trying to find basically, I put it in as a y, that's your x, that could be your a, whatever, that's what you're solving for. So this is a little bit of algebra skills here, right? So you're setting up basically an algebra problem. So again, pause and make sure that you're understanding the mathematics, or you might have done it a different way, as long as you can explain how you got there or show the steps on how you got there, because a lot of times on your free response questions, they do give you a point for the actual work that's done. And then of course your answer. And see your third step, dealing with percent, and percent is almost always, right, a part to a whole. And then you always want to multiply by 100, and don't forget your unit of percent. So anything that's a percent, your unit is percent. Letter D. Letter E. And this is a great question. This is like a true free response question, because they're taking questions from all different parts of different chapters. And they're putting it all together. And that's kind of what you're going to see on the AP exam. And number 5, so again, pause. And now we'll go through the answers. Here's your A. Again, very important to at least balance correctly, but if you remember, put the states of matter. Sometimes that matters and sometimes it doesn't. So I always try to stress, the more you put it on, the more practice you have doing that, the most likely the better off you'll be. Oh, sorry, here's B. Again, I try to color coordinate so it's a little bit easier to see where I got the numbers and which ones they represent. And see you in class for your test.